You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Revenge After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Revenge After Show.
Welcome, everybody. Bing is for doing, and we're here to do another Revenge After Show. Season 2, Episode 3, called Confidence. And as we always like to open up, we talk about the kind of quote that Emily gives us, and obviously today it speaks about confidence. Gabby usually writes it down. I didn't, because I knew she wouldn't, but I can paraphrase it. And it's like in sports, you know, you have to have confidence to make a decision, and you have to have faith in your ability to make that decision, because indecision will not get you what you want. And what I also found interesting about tonight's episode, and I'll introduce everyone in a moment, but I just kind of wanted to talk about this real fast, was the fact that that theme wasn't as evident as it usually is, although it was underlying throughout confidence, you know, and we'll definitely talk about it with the press conference in terms of that. But I, of course, am your host, Phil Svitek, joined alongside
Gabrielle Loren.
Across from her, we have returning
on a Koppel
in a more permanent position. She is now back in a permanent position.
Welcome.
Thanks, guys.
And Katherine, who never left.
Yes, I'm here again. Katherine Tulich, how are you?
And we've got some great stuff brought to you by Katherine. So thank you guys for participating and tweeting and emailing and all that stuff. Questions, because it certainly helped out Katherine, and we'll give you some good exclusives tonight from that interview. Yes.
Yes.
But let's get right into it. Let's talk about let's start with Nolan's love triangle, or at least what I think is Nolan's love triangle.
His temporary one.
Is that how you describe a love triangle?
Well, I mean, pretty much, Phil thinks Emily's in the triangle, but we know that there is a male that's coming into the love triangle in the future, near future, because we know Nolan likes to run both ways, but...
Well, I just really enjoyed this storyline, even though it didn't get much airtime.
Padma?
Padma and the whole, like... Em needs me. Things are getting hot. You know,
well, I know.
To her, it sounded so dirty. She's probably like, oh, God, this girl, Emily. She's pretty, and she's hooking up with Nolan.
Well, what scares me is I thought, and I'll let you guys dispute this or agree with it, but, you know, last episode it seemed like we were aligning forces. Now I think things are going through Padma's head of like, okay, 90% of the receipts we have, since we're being audited, are not for business purposes. There's a huge alliance with Emily. Who is this Emily chick? And what does this all mean? And obviously the IRS is going to find fraud somewhere, because I'm seeing this fraud already.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. There wasn't a lot of Nolan tonight, though, but it's interesting that sort of what we did see, as you said, you picked up on, there's quite a lot there, but it wasn't really a Nolan-focused episode.
No, certainly not.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Yeah, but I guess what he always... no matter what's going on in his life, Em is the person that he runs to immediately, and that's what she saw tonight as well, didn't she? That no matter what, he's always at her side.
Yeah. Like when he got beat up in her house.
Yeah.
That was a funny... I just love him because he just takes things with stride. He sucks it up, and he'll walk away and just be like, thanks. And he brings out the comedy in this show. I've said it first season. I'll say it this season. Because he just makes light of everything. It's like he gets beat the shit out of, but yet he's okay. He's just cool with it.
Well, Nolan and Conrad have the best throwaway lines in the show. Always, always. They're always the one-liners. Both of them have.
This episode seemed to sort of, for me, come out of nowhere. That there was this sort of reliance on Emily and commitment to Emily, and he seemed very sad that she was kind of pushing him away, and that kind of seemed new behavior.
Well, I mean, I guess I would agree with you. What was nice to see is Emily finally admitted that, you know what, like in her own weird way, like, hey, I respect you and I appreciate the things you do for me each and every time. So, you know, because at first when she said, the less you know about this man, the better, I was like, oh, come on, Emily, like, just give the guy something. But then she kind of went into, you know, she opened up with the mother, you know, and those things when they were talking in the bedroom. And so I thought that was a nice moment for Emily.
Right, but okay, last week, and this is a spoiler alert, everybody, in case you didn't listen last week, but last week I gave a spoiler alert that there will be a storyline of Nolan and Padma having a love connection. So tonight, Nolan completely blew her off that he was about to ask her out for a fancy dinner, and then Emily called, and I mean, that was it. You know, okay, I'm on my way. So
let me get this from your female perspectives. You know, so I forget who it was, but someone mentioned like the handshake between Padma and Emily.
That
like,
was me.
What was your take on that?
I said that's a long handshake because...
By both, or who initiated the long handshake?
Well, usually when you're shaking hands and somebody's introducing you, you wait until the introduction is over. But Nolan was having trouble with that. He was like, this is Emily. She's Emily. So they kept shaking hands for that. It was very awkward.
Yeah.
But also, you know, you're saying that he ran off to Emily, but isn't it also, you know, if you're sort of interested in someone, or you're showing interest in someone else, it makes them more interested in you.
Yeah.
Like Padma
It's a chase.
Yeah, the chase. I mean, so for her, I mean, seeing that Emily, he seems to run to Emily, doesn't that make it a challenge for her to kind of win Nolan over?
It does.
It does. Let me also ask this: do you guys also think that because in some weird way Nolan knows the stakes of all of this, that, you know what, if he misses Emily's call or doesn't come to her rescue, it is potentially a life and death situation for Emily?
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Well, yes, but I think he also enjoys being needed. I think, you know, he's definitely getting something out of this.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like she's paying him or sleeping with him.
By the way, I like to cut you off. I like how you said he likes to feel needed, because Padma posed the proposition to him like, hey, you're not here. This company kind of needs you or needs something. And now he's showing up at the office finally.
Right.
So that is an interesting character trait of Nolan.
But at the same time, I'll throw a prediction out there, and I said this in the first season too, that I honestly believe that Nolan is related to Emily. And I think that's why he also feels committed to her, aside from what the father said to him.
Like a Star Wars kind of thing.
Yeah. Guess so.
Well, we'll find out.
David Clark, man, getting around.
Yeah, right? That whole family, it's like everyone's related.
I know. Well, now I'm starting to wonder who's Emily's real father.
Yeah, exactly. It's like right now, that's another question on my mind. Like, is David Clark even Emily's biological father?
That was thrown out.
Could be the white-haired guy. You never know.
Yes.
It certainly could be. Well, let's move off the topic of Nolan, just because I want to get to the bigger picture stuff. But before we do, again, you know, I kind of said it a little bit when I thank you guys for participating when we wanted the questions for Katherine to ask Madeline Stowe and Emily Van Camp. You guys really came through for us. Now we encourage you guys to rate and comment on iTunes, as we've always said, or hopefully have said. You know, we really like to start the conversation here at AfterBuzz TV, and we want you guys to continue it. And so by rating and commenting, we kind of get your thoughts. And some of you, again, you guys have pretty good theories, and I like bringing those into our perspectives and sharing those on air. So it builds a community, and that's what we like. So rate and comment on iTunes, and tell a friend.
And we do acknowledge those that have written to us on YouTube as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, Gabby goes on there, and
I go and I respond, and, you know, it's fun. I love it.
It is. All right, let's talk about Declan stealing. Again, last episode, it was kind of a short thing, and we're like, well, he wasn't stealing at that point. It was more he aligned himself. And I bet you there was a deleted scene that we didn't see for time.
Probably.
Because there was kind of a huge jump to go from that to that. But, and I'll cut to the right to the chase, like, who do we think this Mr. Ryan guy is? I mean, that was just so creepy. Especially, and I only think of that because when he said, "I'll definitely follow up on that favor."
Barkeep. That's what he called him, barkeep. Yeah. He is too nice about it, definitely. So it's like the mob, you know? Do you a favor, but I'm gonna come back for mine.
Is Mr. Ryan in any way associated with the Graysons? And he may know kind of some things, and that's why he knows that, you know, as great as Jack is, he's ultimately already sold his soul kind of once in some weird way, but taking it back. So he knows he can manipulate this guy. And certainly Declan is manipulated.
I mean, I could see him having some relation with Emily, being that he was so nice, because knowing that, you know, Jack was somebody in her past that she really cared about. That's his brother. Maybe he was being overly nice knowing that, and he's going to come back with a favor that's going to help Emily out in the end.
I could be saying something really out of turn here, but I'm finding the Jack and Declan storyline at the moment not as compelling somehow. I find that they're not really coming, especially with Declan, I'm finding that unless something really comes of this, I'm kind of getting a little bit... It's kind of a side story that's not kind of... I'm kind of wondering if it's going to fit into something.
I think it seems that way now, like you're saying, but I have a strong feeling that the writers have thought about what they're doing, and there's going to be something through that relationship. Just on the way that he approached it when he said, like, I'll remember that. I mean, that was a line right there. I think that's your lead into another storyline eventually down the road.
Yeah, but I share Catherine's frustration. Like I said, I felt like there was a deleted scene. Like we're just kind of moving this plot along somehow, and we're not getting the through line.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a filler kind of happening at the moment. I'm finding with this story with Declan. It's like, okay, and it seems a little sort of, you know, where's he going? What's happening? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not getting really excited about where this is going. But hopefully they'll actually bring this around, and I can get excited about Declan again. Where it's going.
I think they will, but for me, I think the stronger play could have been their dynamic. Obviously, they've played a little bit to it, but Amanda, Emily, or Amanda, Jack, and Declan, you know, and them dealing with the baby and things like that. I felt, you know, that way you could kind of be reinforcing something else that's already laid out rather than starting something fresh.
Yeah.
You guys, Declan has never been compelling. We've never liked him. We've never liked his storyline. This is not a surprise. Come on.
You know, when he was with Charlotte, I was a lot more interested in Declan. I kind of felt more for him. I'm just not feeling much for him at the moment. That's what I think I'm trying to say.
Because he has the weakest storyline right now.
I just don't have any kind of sympathy with where he's going at the moment. I'm just not.
I think he's just lost, and so he's losing us in the process.
I just feel like I just don't kind of care about him much at the moment. I'm hoping that they kind of.
Here's why I mean in the best way. Here's why I never liked Declan's storyline or his personality is because maybe he reminds me of me and being an angry teen, but I just don't care for it. I mean, you know, maybe I see myself in him, and I'm just like, I don't care for it. I don't want to see that. You know, where it's just an angry teen trying to, as you say, find himself, and he doesn't have the proper outlets.
And he's taking out his frustrations by doing things like stealing. He's upset about the relationship between Amanda and his brother Jack.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about that relationship, Amanda, Jack, and...
Let's do it.
Well,
or Amanda, Emily, and Charlotte, maybe.
Well, I mean, I think Jack admitted something incredible tonight, that basically he's going to be there for the kid, but
not in the relationship.
But not for her. So I think that was an incredible admission tonight.
I agree, and you know what I think about that also? I feel sorry for her because she feels obligated to help Emily, but in her heart she wants to be with Jack, and she doesn't want to ruin things, and she knows it's going to bring trouble, yet she has to follow through with what Emily wants and her wishes, and then it leads to things like Jack trying to walk away from her. And I think that's going to be addressed in the next episode where Amanda might rebel even more. Like, she might not be suckered into Emily.
I think Jack is also still in love with Emily. And we saw that sort of on outside of the bar where they had the conversation. He was very grateful to her for still being around and being good to Amanda and just sort of sticking around and being in their lives. And he said that again to Amanda, you know, that she's so generous. And go ahead, Phil. What do you want to say?
No, I was. No, I don't mean. If you have more to say, I don't mean to cut you off. But
Phil's just really excited.
I think I think Declan kind of helped initiate this spark in Jack to think like, okay, I'm going to be here for the baby, but not necessarily you.
Yeah.
And also, in the romantic that I am, I think it's actually pretty cool that, he's seeing, okay, you know what, this may be this may be Amanda, but he senses that it's not the true Amanda. Whereas, like, his heart is compelling him towards Emily, who is, in fact, the real Amanda.
Yeah, not that he knows that. I think he just feels he doesn't have the bond with
it's
this
love.
Amanda.
It's his heart is going in the right direction.
Yeah, yes, exactly. But he doesn't realize it's the right direction.
Yes. Unfortunately, the head and the heart are separated.
Yeah.
And so now I almost wonder what the relationship between Amanda and Emily is going to be like, being that now it's a question of Jack being in her life or not.
Well, Emily, is showing her this power control, the whole reason of not telling Amanda that it is really Jack's baby, because she can wield so much power over getting her to do whatever she wants her to do now.
But why is Amanda second guessing who the baby's father is?
Well, she believed her.
Yeah.
But why? She's the one who's in control of her own body.
But she believed the paternity test. Because that's what what Emily told her, so she's believed her.
And she had a one-night stand around the same time.
Yeah, so
do we know who she had the one-night stand with?
We think it's Decatur. No, we don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. That's what I think.
She said who it was, but I don't remember. This just came to me. Remember, she smelled the bottle of booze. She couldn't sleep, so she was drinking more milk. She smelled the bottle of booze and just put it down. And then Jack came down and talked to her. Why didn't he have any question about, like, hey, why do you have a bottle of whiskey in front of you?
I don't know. I just thought it was that she's missing drinking. She's a party girl. She likes to drink, and she's pregnant, so it was like she can't do it. So
yeah, but why didn't Jack say anything about it? Like, hey, you're pregnant with my child.
But she didn't drink it.
I know, but he didn't see that. But it was right.
Well, here's why. Because in the conversation, she said, "I'm not going to feed my baby at the bar." And so he could have taken it as that as her looking at, like, this is what my life is becoming. I'm just going to be raising a baby at a bar.
It looked really suspicious.
But I thought it was interesting, because just going back to saying the thing about confidence, it was interesting that first line about confidence, and then we were followed with a series of scenes of everyone's got insomnia and having trouble sleeping. I just thought, well, people are lacking confidence, in the sense that they're all troubled. And I thought that was interesting because I think insomnia came up like 3 times, with Victoria having it, Amanda having it, Emily having it.
Yeah, Emily likes to clean.
Yes.
I actually do not think that they lack confidence, because I don't think half of them would be as successful in their pursuits.
But I'm saying at the moment, I think they're battling with sort of.
I think they have their demons.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that they're not confident about their motives.
To a degree, I mean, every time something comes up, every time a new truth is revealed, you kind of alter, and even if for that moment, and especially, all it takes is that one moment for you to kind of falter. And then that's when you get unexpectedly hit. And that's what kind of keeps happening.
Yeah.
And so there's also a fine line, like, yeah, you have to have confidence, but if you have too much confidence, then you're ultimately going to be wrong. You have to have that worry in you, and yet have the confidence to do what you need to do. So it's a very fine balance, as Takeda, I'm sure, would teach.
Yeah. And also, when you see, like, there's always kind of curves of what happens to Victoria and what happens to Emily, and they do rebound, with... So I think they do get thrown curveballs all the time, but somehow they rebound very quickly and figure out a new path to still get where they want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, the press conference is the penultimate of all of this.
What about Charlotte, though? We didn't really talk about her and her relationship with Emily and Amanda.
Yes, let's do that. I know us 3 were last week, because you weren't here, Gabby, but last week the 3 of us were kind of wondering, why exactly Emily showed Charlotte and Amanda and all that, and obviously we find out now it's because Charlotte and Amanda are getting close, and, now Amanda's kind of becoming into the family by default. So I thought that was a nice development.
Do you think that's upsetting to Emily that this is going down, or do you think that?
No, I think she wants it to happen, doesn't she?
For her plan, but do you think that internally she's kind of struggling with the fact that, like, I'm really the family? And
I don't know if she wants to be part of this family, though, does she? The Graysons.
I don't know, but I almost wonder about Charlotte, because I feel like she still feels obligated to, like, be a sister figure in her life by her helping her in some senses. So I feel like that relationship is the strongest. Maybe not so much with Victoria and everything. I think in the beginning she felt guilty because Victoria was in love with her father and her father loved Victoria. However, I think there's so much to the story, and who knows now, like, even if David Clark is her father, like we're saying. So, I mean, I just think it's too twisted for her to even care about anybody but Charlotte right now.
I feel like she does love Charlotte.
Yeah,
I do.
I agree. 100%.
I mean, if she did love Charlotte, she ultimately wouldn't be doing what she's doing right now, because this is ultimately, when the truth comes out, that's just going to destroy Charlotte. She's going to be like, you lied to me as well?
Yeah, I
Yeah, that's a
know.
horrible one. I was shocked, actually,
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, you're right. How can she ever really...
About her own father, too.
Yeah.
Like, that's her father also.
Yeah.
You would
But
think.
you're right. How could Charlotte ever forgive her if she knew her real identity? You know, if that ever comes out. Well, whenever it comes out.
But I guess, like, the whole thing is Emily's plan will fall apart if she lets Charlotte in on what's going on. So I guess she has to, like, protect herself and her plan by, like, keeping her in the dark and using her as, like, bait.
And do you think that she got Amanda to give her the journal because she wants Charlotte to know more about her father, or was really just a plot to kind of
Well, it
get
was a plot,
Victoria
right?
To really...
Because it's not the actual journal you said, correct?
It's not. It's,
Right.
as Emily says, you know, she made altercations and
So I think she's trying to play it that Victoria's this horrible person instead of someone David loved,
I think so. I mean,
to pit her against her mother.
now, it could actually be the real journal. That remains to be debated. I don't know. It's really tough. I mean, do the means justify the end? I don't know. I think ultimately she will hurt Charlotte, and Charlotte will not like her in the end. Anna, you're kind of quiet on this one.
No, time will tell. I do think it's the real journal. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, that will definitely hurt Charlotte. I think right now all she cares about is finding her mom, which we did see her mom at the motel. Did we talk about that?
We haven't talked about that. All right, let's move on to I want to save the mom for last, even though chronologically it's, you know, it doesn't make sense to necessarily do it last. But before we do, I want to tell you guys about the AfterBuzz TV fall lineup. I'm sure there's multiple shows that you guys are watching because it's the fall. Revenge is one of those fall shows, so we appreciate your listenership / viewership. But I guarantee you, like us, you guys are super fans of many shows. And if it's a TV show, we're probably doing it. Aside from perhaps porn, we haven't started porn yet.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think porn's episodic though. No. So you know,
Probably not a lot to discuss.
yes. But if it is a non-pornographic TV show, I guarantee you we're probably covering it. So check it out on AfterBuzzTV.com. And you know, even if you're not a fan of some of these TV shows, again, one of the greatest things that you can do for us is really tell a friend, spread the word, because you may not be a fan of certain shows, but I guarantee your friends will be. And it really helps us out, you know.
And John, can we edit out the porn thing when we put this up online? Is that possible?
We will not edit out the porn thing.
We can't.
We can.
can't.
We can and we will. Come on.
By the way, speaking of a great show, and tune into Jersey Shore this Thursday. There's going to be a lot of controversy. You know, it's my very good
fight?
friend. No, not the show. I don't know the show, but the after show.
Oh, the after show.
The after show I know is going to be great because my partner in crime here at AfterBuzz TV, Kevin Undergaro, co-executive producer, he does the show, and it's going to be madness. So you guys.
Wait, what's going on?
Well, you're on the show, Gabby. So
I told you I'm not going to be here this week.
Oh, this is going to be amazing. We're actually going to be talking about Gabby.
What? Oh,
That's it.
Oh.
For those of you in the
not
complete
gonna be
lost,
there.
you see, this is why you have to watch all the AfterBuzz shows, because then these inside jokes will actually make sense. All right,
Right.
let's talk about the press conference.
He's not lying either.
I'm so not lying.
Okay.
All right, press conference. Just what I really liked about it is just it was a culmination of just shit hitting the fan, and everyone trying to deal with it. And this is where the Emily's idea of confidence really came through, and ultimately Victoria, and Conrad too. Ultimately, when he got the phone call from AmeriCorps, they really picked their strategy.
Well, I think we need
jump
to
right in.
roll back, though. Why
Go
did this
ahead.
all start? Because the passport was sent to the house with the note,
by Aiden. So we
Yes.
haven't spoken much about Aiden.
which said,
have not.
Yes. No, we need to speak a bit more about him.
it said,
Yeah.
faking your death and disappearing didn't work. Let's do the death part for real this time. That was a note that was in the passport that Daniel received.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's now we can begin.
Well, speaking of Daniel in confidence, I love the new Daniel.
I know.
Because old Daniel was like, somebody tell me what to think,
Now
you
he's
know?
like bounding through the door.
Yeah, he's like, all of you in here now.
Yeah, that was my favorite part.
Yeah, so I love new Daniel. I love his confidence.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's still pathetic because he's just so in the dark, and every decision he makes is bad. But go ahead.
No, I was just going to say about that. There was that great line from Conrad about your gullibility. You know, you've got to sort of get over your gullibility or something. He
love
threw out
that.
a line like that, which was
He's so brutally honest,
He
like
is.
with his own family. I love it.
But I think Emily ultimately gave him finally the direction and his mission to go off of play her game better than her.
exactly that
And
was.
that's, I think the gullibility is now gone.
But then again, is that Emily being like working in her plan and in her favor, or is that her like still having some feelings for Jack and trying, or not Jack, sorry, Daniel?
Well, I think she's trying
to help him.
You know, I think as Aiden says, that, you know, that you're getting his trust back. Like he lost
Part of the
trust.
game?
He lost trust in her, so now she is doing everything to regain his trust, isn't she? So doing all these little things of like, you know, advice and
You know what's
helping.
kind of funny? She
Yeah.
kind of needs everybody's trust in this whole game because she wants everyone to think she's the innocent, like nice girl, so that she can have everyone working against each other but not working against her.
Yeah.
So I think that's like her goal is to keep the trust with everybody.
I think she never had feelings for Daniel, ever.
Really?
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 Wow.
Well, Takeda has, that was something that was brought up in this episode, that Aiden won that course, and Takeda said, you have to not have compassion. So that's something you need to get rid of. So I think that, you know, Daniel was just a pawn in her plan.
Yeah.
But why was Takeda so worried that Daniel was going to be a distraction, and that's why it was between Jack and Daniel and not one? Remember, there was like some
in the last
in the last season, he pretty much was like, you can't save both of them or something like that.
Well, I think Jack was more of a problem than, she loves Jack.
And he was meddling, and he wanted to dig deeper into what's going on.
You know what? I mean, I think you're right. But ultimately, sometimes we just, you know, I think to your point, Gabby, sometimes we just need to be reminded of those things. You know what I mean?
Because she is a human. At the same time, she's an evil person, but she is human and she has feelings. And I think sometimes love is blind, and maybe even with her training, it's still something that's hard for her.
Yeah. I think here's ultimately why I zone in on her giving the advice to Daniel, is because I think it'll also could be devastating to her in this season, where it's actually going to work against her by Daniel acting the way that he will. You know, and I hopefully I'm right, because I look forward to seeing that, where Daniel's actually going against Emily in some sense.
I can see that.
Not meaning to, but by the actions that he's taken, it's actually foiling Emily every step of the way.
Like, she shouldn't have actually said that to him, because at the same point, he could be doing that shit to her, pretty much, and, like, ruining her plan.
Well, he doesn't know she's playing a game.
But he could be playing that game right back to her. You know what I mean? And then she's fooled.
I don't think, I think the level it would go to is that he's unknowingly doing
Because
these
what
things
what if he starts that relationship again with Emily and ditches Ashley, but he doesn't really care about Emily, he's just doing it for another motive?
I think he cares about Emily. I actually think he genuinely has some affection for her, until he, you know, at this point, and he thinks that that she's showing again some feelings towards him.
Yeah.
I don't think that Daniel is smart enough to outwit either of these women. I don't.
Maybe being around them long enough, he'll figure it out.
No, he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I really don't. So
Now, let's talk about Victoria and her kind of process of what goes through her mind from the moment Charlotte comes in to the moment, hey, you know what may come, I'm going out there.
Well, it's that typical kind of, like if a politician's caught or, you admit it first, don't you? I had the affair. It's that typical, she turned it around really fast, didn't she?
I am so glad that you said politicians, because when they were standing up there, I was like, they look like the freaking Romneys, standing there holding hands.
When you're caught with your pants
weird.
down, you admit that your pants were down. I mean, you know what I mean? I think she was just very smart. She turned it around immediately going, instead of trying to, and that's exactly what she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately what worked for, that was the weirdest press conference ever. But
so awkward.
Yeah, but the press probably loved it. Like, oh my God, look at all this juicy information.
But the reason why it worked though is because ultimately I think Daniel was the key piece, and he came up, and obviously Amanda too played a key part in that. But just that was a.
But did you think Emily knew this was going? Because remember, Amanda was going to leave. And Emily said to her, no, you have to stay for this. So do you think she knew that was going to happen, that she was going to embrace Amanda into the fold?
And that is why she said, make sure you watch the 10 o'clock news, because she knew exactly what was going to go down. Yeah. Although Aiden also fostered that, even though she didn't know he was really helping.
I think the plan ultimately changed. I think there were so many, Victoria had a plan, Emily had a plan, but so many of these things came up, and Conrad had a plan, you could throw him into the mix, but they had to alter their plans based off of what was happening. And so I think Emily knew, but she made her only in that moment, once she kind of saw what was going on. And I think that speaks to the confidence of, you got to make your decision fast. And that's what they did in those moments leading up to the press conference.
Yeah.
Right.
And same thing for Daniel. He made up his mind right in those moments of okay, I'm going to join. I'm going to join there.
And so now I think this whole family is exposed, and they pretty much know what Amanda Clark looks like now on national television. They know Charlotte is David Clark's daughter. And, clearly the initiative was watching. Because a phone call was made right away to Conrad as Victoria was up on the podium.
Yeah.
And I think the initiative is actually AmeriCorps, because they're monitoring them, I think, because obviously they're the main people involved with that whole airplane situation and the bombings. It wasn't David Clark, it was them.
Yeah.
And so anything that is going to frame them, they have to be careful for. And I think they call David Clark because they know David Clark is really just dealing with Victoria, and Victoria's the one that's outspoken and trying to bring everyone down with the truth. So I think they're trying to get Conrad against, I don't know if I just said David Clark, but I meant Conrad. I think they're trying to get Conrad to work with them to bring down Victoria now, because of what she's doing and how she's publicizing everything.
Your guys' thoughts?
I'm really confused about what's happening, honestly. What is going on? Too many
Well, they
plots.
still think the white hair man's alive, right?
They do.
Yeah,
So-
they do.
Yeah. So
But they think he's going to be the next target, apparently,
Yeah.
because of that letter, or with the passport, right? They think that he's going to be targeted now? Or
Yeah.
because Conrad
they're
said
the
that
ones
to
who-
Victoria.
They're the ones who are targeting him.
Yeah, Aiden set this kind of thing in motion now that they think the white hair man is still there and that basically they're still in danger, right? Isn't that what he's kind of set in motion now with Conrad and Victoria?
But didn't Conrad say to Victoria after the press conference that that now the target is the white-haired man? The initiative is going after the white-haired man?
But because they don't know he's
dead.
Gone. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why does Conrad want to get out of the country, though? Because he also said to the reporter that they're going to Tuscany, and he mentioned before that everybody's leaving the country. Victoria's like, no, I'm not running away. Why is Conrad so set on leaving the country?
Well, is it... I know he wanted to leave the country initially, but then the Tuscany thing was after the press conference, and I think the Tuscany thing is more about the marriage, the fact that him and Victoria are getting together rather than leaving the country.
It's still leaving the country, though.
It is, yeah.
We'll see.
But I think that could play into the plot with the initiative. Maybe they said something to him on the phone, and so he's setting her up for something.
Well, they're both afraid of the initiative, aren't they? Isn't
No,
that...
but I think, but he hates Victoria, and I think he'll do anything to bring her down anyways, and he'll be the last one standing. So if he can, work with these other people and, save himself, I think it's always about I instead of us. So I think he's going to work with them to take her down and, get her out of the picture.
Try to blow her up on a plane again. Same plan.
Well,
Idiot.
speaking of which, let's talk about Emily's mom, which is more of a discussion on Aiden. So obviously he discovered that in the AC unit, which was kind of brilliant, how he just looked at the central air and was like, oh, got it.
That's such a rip from Dexter. Total rip. I feel.
We say homage. Homage.
Stole it.
Say it with me. Homage.
A homage.
Complete rip off.
Fair enough.
Stole
But
the
obviously, you know, as we've, you know, kind of talked about all these storylines, Aiden is the one who set a lot of this in motion, and everyone had to kind of react to it tonight. How you guys liking Aiden? Apart from physically, of course.
I know, right? I said he was hot. That's what I think.
I'm liking him. Yeah, I'm starting to like him. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of mystery to his character
Yeah.
because, I mean, yes, I think obviously he has a huge, like, connection with Emily, but I think he knows more than he's saying. I think he actually knows about her mother, knew when he visited the hotel that was the mother.
I'm thinking that too, actually.
Yeah,
I think he's knows a lot more than he's letting on at this point. And
Yeah.
he's really kind of pulling some strings behind the scene because he knows what he's kind of...
Well, here's so let me ask.
Because, wait, can I say something to that point? He had said, it's not about finding your mother to Emily. It's what you find when you do.
Right.
So that makes me think he knows a lot about Emily's mom, and he knows where she is right now. Because why else would he have said that? He knows.
Well,
that was a hint right there.
Let me ask you this: is his true motive to gain Emily's trust back? Because if it was, I feel like this is something you reveal to Emily. Like, hey,
where the mother is.
yeah.
But he also says that he doesn't want her to lose track of her mission. So that's why he doesn't want her to find her mother. But honestly, the mother plays a huge part in this whole mission because, but I think he thinks that she's just going to be distraught when she finds out the truth that her mother is not the mother she thought she had. You know, that she was probably working against her father the whole time, from being in the hospital to now.
That the mother was working against.
Yeah, David Clark.
Victoria sort of alluded to that in the preview.
Yeah, exactly, she did.
Well, that would be something to gain her trust, because he said something like, how many times do I have to apologize before you trust me again? When you want to gain somebody's trust, you do things to be trustworthy, and that would...
Especially if you know she's looking for her mother, you know where her mother is, bring her to her mother, thereby succeeding.
Right.
But maybe
that's not
he's
the best
keeping.
option,
but
yeah.
maybe the reason he doesn't want to do that is because by Emily reuniting with her mother, it might be a very dangerous track.
Which I am with Catherine,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of things we don't know about
Let me
her
ask you
mother.
this then. I'm going to follow up with you, Catherine, and I want your response on this. Is it because of the sister, because of Aiden's sister and the truth that he found in his mission through that?
Could be, couldn't it?
Could be.
Could be, yeah. But I tend to think that as much as she's searching for her mother, it's going to end up being quite... I don't know if it's going to be a good thing. Let's put it that way.
I agree.
So if Aiden thinks it's not good for her to be with her mother, then he's protecting her.
Well, why can't he warn her? Why can't he say, listen, I know where your mom is. Just
Oh,
a
God.
heads up.
Then she'll hold him captive until he tells her.
Right, yeah, but why can't he like give her a heads up? Like, listen, I'm going to take you to her, but just as a heads up, this is what's going on.
Because we got a whole series to kind of
Because
find out.
she also, yeah, that's true. But she also has compassion. She has not lost her compassion. And for her own blood, I think it's a different story. And when it involves her mother, regardless, she's going to want to know where her mother is and what's going on. It's not going to be like, okay, Aiden, I won't look for my mom.
Here's what I don't like about Aiden is that he wasn't careful. You know, even the most careful person isn't as careful as, I mean, the Southampton police thing.
Yes, and
That was
you know
a huge
what?
mistake.
She left a voicemail on Gordon, the white-haired man's voicemail about the Lasky, and Emily was listening to it. Emily's going to know that Aiden visited.
No, she just knows about the...
Lasky, though. There's no detective. She's going to find out who
Well,
made
she
that
doesn't know
visit.
if that was Aiden, though, at this
But
point.
Where did she say her location when she made that voicemail?
No.
No, obviously
Okay.
not, because
Because-
she'd know where her mother is.
Because, yeah, but Aiden brought that thing from Gordon, right? The airplane, the thing from the airplane?
Yeah,
that
but you're
was
not
found in
going
the
to...
AC unit.
Yeah, but
brought
you're
it
not...
to Emily, but Gordon had it, and Gordon has a relationship with the mother, and
Black
she
box,
knows
wasn't
that.
it? Wasn't it the black box from the flight?
Probably.
Yeah, it's a black box.
But pretty much like, but I think Emily's gonna put it together because if you're smart, you'll realize Gordon had a relationship with the mother, and Aiden got the thing from Gordon. So obviously, like they were probably in the same location. She's gonna realize.
I just want to point out a quick thing is that last week I was like, oh, we found out that his name is Gordon. And you guys were like, that's a fake name. Come on, you're an idiot.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I surrender, yes. Gordon is his real name.
Gordon
Murphy.
It's just me on my high horse right now. Just saying, guys.
It's really funny.
Just saying.
So Emily's mom, anything else about her?
Well, obviously it leads, now this kind of sets off in motion Emily and going to find her. And Victoria's the last hope, supposedly.
Supposedly, if she doesn't know that Aiden knows where he is.
I mean, you know what? I'll come up to this. I mean, you know what? It could be that Emily realizes, hey, I need Aiden's help, you know, because there might be a connection. I think it's a little far stretched, but who knows? There might be a connection made somehow. I don't know.
Connection between,
Gabby's connection of like, well, he found the thing, therefore, I don't know.
Like because he found it in the hotel room where Gordon was staying, and Gordon's connected to the mother. So I think she's gonna realize there's a connection. Aiden knows where my mother is.
Right.
She's gonna know.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I think there's one
smart.
missing piece in there that Emily's gonna find out that could lead to that. That's
Where did you find this, Aiden?
All right, but we have so much news and gossip to get to, so let's go right into that.
AfterBuzz TV News.
And let's start with you, Anna. What do you got this week? And then we'll get into Catherine's interview.
All right, I've got stuff. So, Josh Bowman, who plays Daniel, is in a movie with Miley Cyrus.
I'm excited.
It's called
I don't know.
So Undercover. It's an action comedy film, and it's set to be released December 7th, 2012 in the UK. And it's going to be released straight to DVD November 19th in the United States.
Not good.
Didn't they work together previously on something? Because I think
Maybe
they used to
that's it.
date.
Yeah,
They used to date.
They did. He did date her. Maybe this is
awesome.
an old film because if it's
I
going
think it
straight,
is.
must be old because it must be going straight to DVD because it's already out.
But it's just released December.
Doesn't mean that it could have
2012.
been made years ago.
Yeah, I think because I think they were dating at that time.
Yeah, I think it was made years ago. It's just now getting
And then he
released
dated Amy
because-
Winehouse after her or something like that.
Been around, huh?
Yeah, he has before people knew who he was.
So this is a little bit of a spoiler alert. This is an interview with Gabriel Mann, who plays Nolan. You might be able to like confirm or deny this. I don't know.
I don't know. Depends what he says.
But they're just asking about Nolan's character and what we're going to see this year, and you know his life outside of Emily. And so he does confirm, you know, we're going to see more of Noel Corp and maybe secret family members. And then he talks about showrunner Mike Kelly and that his intentions are to like really take the characters and just have them give as much as possible. And then he quotes, "As to whether this means somebody is going to not make it, very likely. Will that be me? Possibly. I don't know. I'm having a great time on the show, and I'm not quite ready to give up the Hamptons just yet, but anything can happen." So I don't know. Does that sound like he might be
No,
leaving
he
the show?
said that last season when I interviewed him, that he didn't know
jerk.
if he could been the one that was killed off. Because it
Well.
was like very shady in the script of who was going to die.
Yeah, or it could be like the Victoria death.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, you never know.
Lame. And then you can follow up with this.
Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff about
Team
this.
Nolan.
But again, this is a spoiler alert. Madeline Stowe, who plays Victoria, we have her mother is going to be cast. Adrienne Barbeau will be joining the cast as Victoria's mother. And we see, we'll learn about a lot about the monster that Victoria Grayson was put together, and we'll learn that there's a lot of damage that went into this little girl that became Victoria Grayson, and it was at the hands of her mother. So Emily and Victoria will share a lot more than they would have ever expected in the family.
Interesting.
So,
Both the mothers are evil.
Pop quiz. Do you guys know which show Adrienne Barbeau was in?
What show?
You're too young.
Yeah.
She was a major cast member. In a
Maude.
very
Wait, which one?
Maud.
Maud. She was more, yeah.
I was going to say, give us
I cheated.
Huh, you
I cheated.
It's in her news.
One of the great sitcoms of. Had you ever seen Maud? Did you ever see? Oh.
I've never,
That's
to be
funny.
honest, I've never even heard of the
seen it,
show.
yeah.
It's blasphemous. I know. It's blasphemous, especially since I work in this business.
I can't
YouTube
believe
it.
you've never heard of Maud.
She was also on the Love Boat.
Arthur, yeah.
Love Boat, I've heard of.
She was also on Fantasy Island
I've heard of that.
and Hotel. And
I haven't heard of that.
her recent work includes Grey's Anatomy, Dexter, General Hospital, CSI New York,
I've heard of all those.
And that's it. And Revenge.
Okay, look up more. It's one of the great sitcoms that went for many years. So
I'll look it up. But John, let's cue up that video. So this is
Phil. Before we get into that, I think one of you said that's before they casted the mother.
I was going to get into that.
Oh, you are,
because
and
she talks about. Let's just run the video.
So John, go ahead and play that video for us. This is the interview that Katherine did with Madeline Stowe. We're going to play about a minute of it for you guys.
Adrienne Barbeau is playing my mother, and we're just going to start tomorrow actually shooting, and you're going to come to find that Victoria and her mother have been alienated for a good number of years, and there's a very profound reason for it. The mother is a fascinating, she's like Victoria, but where Victoria is actually a real mother, even though she makes mistakes, Victoria's mother was not so. And Victoria adored her mother and was betrayed by her time and time again.
It does seem a lot about mother relationships this season.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes, it does. Jennifer Jason Leigh, who is exceptional, plays a mad woman who is Emily's mother. And so Emily has to confront her own maybe genetic predisposition towards insanity. That's part of it. And, you know, Emily's mother tried drowning her when she was a little girl, but she doesn't remember it, so it's all about that recovered memory. And so Jennifer and I get to play an awful lot. So it's really two converging stories in a sense. Emily,
all right, you can stop there, John. Thank you, John.
So did you get all those clues for a start? That was incredible. The fact that basically that Emily's going to have to confront madness, the madness of her own mother, and also that Victoria has to confront madness in her family. And also if you remember when the beginning of the season when we saw that when she was being drowned and Takeda was kind of in the water, that's obviously a memory thing of her being drowned as a child. So I think obviously all that's going to come out.
Interesting.
So exciting.
Yes, I know. I mean, Madeline, what was so great about meeting, just to explain, of course, as she came to talk to the Hollywood Foreign Press, so we got a chance to talk to her, and she was incredible. And first of all, lovely woman, really sweet, nothing like Victoria. she was an absolute darling. She's a very, very lovely woman, and so basically we got to. And what was great is that normally, you know, when you talk to these people and they won't tell you anything, they won't give you any clues about what was going on. And at one point she said, "Oh, I'm saying too much," because you know
That's
she
awesome.
was like giving out all these clues as to what was happening. It was like it was
awesome.
just fantastic. Yeah. So
also, you were going to interview Emily, but she couldn't make it,
that's what I was just going to
unfortunately.
explain. Yes, we were due to also talk to Emily Van Camp, but unfortunately she had to fly home this week. Her grandfather passed, and Madeline said she really apologised, but you know this was something that was a family emergency, and it was very sad for Emily. So our thoughts go out to Emily.
Right. Yes, for sure.
Emily Van Camp.
But I did want to say, actually, what I was going to bring up before wasn't in the video. You guys were talking about something in the screening room about who was going to be cast.
So this is one of the things that she was talking about, that before Adrienne Barbeau got cast as her mother, they were talking to one of the great screen legends of all time, and I think you've heard of her, haven't you, Phil?
I may have.
Sophia Loren.
I have heard of her.
Great, Phil. So they were seriously considering Sophia Loren to play the mother, but Sophia Loren only wanted to do one episode, and so they've now, Adrienne Barbeau was kind of available to do a lot more and obviously make a bigger story about the mother, so that's why they went with Adrienne Barbeau.
However, I have to say, if Sophia Loren played the mother, I think that would have been the most interesting episodes ever.
They could have pulled a Takeda,
been
like one
amazing.
episode with one, and then the rest.
Well, I think you'd notice if it wasn't Sophia Loren. Come on.
Yeah, right.
That would have been.
We noticed it was Takeda.
Yeah.
But, you know, we just went with it.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, but Takeda, come on. Sophia Loren's like huge. She's a legend.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Really cool.
so Madeline was really talking about sort of the mother issues and what's going to happen, and then also we've got a little bit more on this video, but because I want to thank everyone for sending me questions, and one of the great questions that I got was about how Emily and her, will they actually align, and I want to thank someone for sending that question. I thought it was a great question. So I do ask her that question. So if you want to watch, we're going to actually tell you where to see the rest of that.
It's on the Golden Globes YouTube channel, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And we'll tweet
we'll tweet it out via @AfterBuzz TV. And I also want to say this is... John, get ready with the AfterBuzz TV exclusive button, because thanks to Gabby, myself, and Anna, Katherine now has a Twitter.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
That's right. You can follow her at Katherine Tulich. That's Katherine with a K, Tulich. Last name Tulich. If you don't know how to spell it, look it up on our description. It's right there.
We tweeted it tonight.
And I promised to learn how to tweet out, and I will give you something, another exclusive about Madeline later on the Twitter.
Here's the thing. Katherine is so shy about tweeting, and she has such an amazing life. I mean, she's on the Hollywood Foreign Press. She's meeting all these people. Like, she actually has Twitter-worthy things rather than, like... You know, not to belittle Twitter, but it's like, I took a poop today. Like, really? Like, that's some of the tweets that I'm seeing from people that are like, that is not worthy of a tweet.
I met George Clooney the other day. I can't tell.
Oh my God!
I can give you a list of 20
that
people.
is a worthy Twitter.
I love George Clooney.
Yeah, we had a private little.
Ooh, Katherine.
Not me, but
she's gonna tweet about it. Anyway, we have to get to predictions.
Little thing. Sorry, Stacy Keebler.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Katherine's got a lot to Twitter about. All right, what do you guys predict?
Better start.
All right, I think that Emily is Amanda's baby's godmother, because she is going to eventually kill Amanda, and at some point. I think this is what I think.
Wow.
And that's because she's going to want to start her own family with Jack. And the only way to get her out of the picture is to kill off Amanda, like, towards the very end of the show, I think, like, before their season finale forever. You know what I mean?
All right, so we got something to look forward to in season 10.
She'll be the mother, because she's the godmother. So that's what I think. I'm thinking long term. Yeah.
All right, anyone got shorter term predictions?
Well, it's hard to follow up with. Well, I think it's a little bit longer term, but I do think that Emily and Victoria are going to at least commiserate. I don't know that they'll align, but I do think they'll get closer this season. And I think that Nolan will express more of like a love for Emily that's a little bit romantic.
Ooh, I like that.
In terms of the Amanda thing, you know, we see in a little snippet she approaches like Emily. You know, all these things that you do are hurting people, and I think that's a direct result of the press conference. So I'm gonna like that argument on screen. I'm looking forward to that. Katherine. I don't really have predictions because they always throw me into a loop with the previews, and I'm like, none of this is going to happen in the context that it's meant.
So think outside the box. Listen to that line, and you figure out who they're talking to.
I unfortunately have the hardest time thinking outside of the box.
Phil's like, it's this, it's A, or it's B, black or white.
That's right.
You are. Love it.
But any spoilers we can look forward to?
Well, I think just the fact that, you know, like what she's clued us into, the fact that the mother thing's going to become like they're both confronting madness, which I thought was a very interesting.
But that's not going to be for a while because according to the video, they just started.
So that's what I'm saying. She really gave us some clues way down the track of what's going to be happening.
However, don't they only read their scripts like a few shoots, like? They don't get the whole season's worth of scripts, right?
Yeah.
They're getting it, like, they're kind of following like us, but they're a little ahead of us.
Well, they have to be on, like, episode 7 at least. They, you know, otherwise we would...
Yeah, but they originally said in an interview that they don't get the scripts. I forget, but if I, like, look back to the interview, that they don't know the whole seasons. They get it.
No, they don't, but, you know, they have to be... I would say there are at least 4 episodes.
But it's going to happen this season, like, and it's going to probably happen soon then, where the mother is brought in.
Yeah.
We'll see.
They've started shooting it this week. And I just also wanted to say that Madeline, I got a chance to tell her about AfterBuzz, and she was so excited, and I thought she was really lovely. She was just very excited that we're doing an after show for Revenge, and said she was, so...
So is she coming in or what?
No, but she invited us onto the set, so we're going to have to follow that up.
Yeah.
We're going to bring the set here.
Yes.
That's what we're going to do. And we should have Charlotte hopefully coming in soon as well.
We should.
So because we will.
Because we will.
Because Anna's been hard at work trying to get these guys. So the more we try, the better results we'll get. What does that mean?
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later?
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's what helps. You guys rating and commenting on iTunes. Or also talking to us on Twitter. Because if people see that and we have a big Twitter engagement, they'll be like, oh, I got to get involved with this AfterBuzz TV thing. And trust me, they're watching. Just Madeline doesn't have Twitter. That's why she's not watching on Twitter.
Yeah, but I do now. Hey, hey.
That's right. But speaking of Twitter, where can we find everyone?
Gabrielle_Loren.
You can follow me at Koppel for Mayor, KOPPELFORMAYOR.
And this is for the first time I can say it now. I can't
Yes, you
believe
can.
it. Is that how you say it? At Katherine. My name, Katherine, KATHERINE, Tulich, TULICH.
Yay!
What an exciting day. And you can, of course, tweet us at AfterBuzz TV. And the reason why we encourage you guys because we want to keep the conversation going.
We do.
So until that, keep tweeting at us, and we'll certainly be back next week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
You have revenge notebooks, so buzz you later.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.